Hey guys, how you doing today? This is D. Durrell, Life Solutions. Happy to be here once again to have this discussion. Again, I love tackling the black family. I love to talk about the different ills of the black family and how we should improve as a people, as fathers, as mothers. The absence of fathers needs to decrease. The functionality of black women to function at an optimal level and being a nurturer, a teacher, to be in a position of less stress should increase, should improve. And it's not. It's actually getting worse. And so what I'm going to talk about today is one of the outcomes of black women being overly stressed, overly worked, aggressive, and bitter. And that's the fact that black mothers, we're going to talk about black mothers who call their daughters terms such as bitches and hoes. Let me repeat that. Black women who are verbally abusive to their children, to their daughters in particular, and they call them bitches and hoes. Now, it's quite evident in the black community that there is a very, very strange relationship between black women and their boys, because black women have a tendency to treat their boys as pseudo boyfriends, pseudo fathers, or pseudo boyfriends, pseudo husbands. And so they don't necessarily use, even though they do, they call them the N-word too. They may call them you just like your dad, and when they're doing negative, but as far as a culture of demeaning your little girls that's supposed to grow up and become queens, that's supposed to grow up and become productive female citizens, productive women in our community. But as children, you call those girls bitches and hoes. Come here, bitch. Bitch, bring your ass here. Look here, hoe. You don't do that. And what I have found in my 20 years, of working in this field, over 20 years of working in mental health, and also as a therapist for almost 15 years, is that I noticed that the older the children get, particularly when they're around the preteen to teenage years, the harder the statements, or I would say the increased likelihood of using those derogatory statements towards their daughter. Okay? Just want you to think about that. You better not be fucking and hoeing around in the streets when you come back from school. Think about terms like that. Bitch, what you doing wearing those type of clothes out there? You trying to get pregnant? You see, this is the type of things that I have witnessed and seen. CPS case after CPS case. See, this is real language here. See, you're not going to get this type of rhetoric from these Mickey Mouse therapists that you see on Black YouTube, watering down things. I deal with the real language, and I speak to my clients with real language because they're more receptive to that. But there are black mothers who talk to their daughters like this. There are women that may be watching right now that may not like what I have to say because either they've been told that by their mother and they think it's no big deal, or they're telling their daughter this and they think that their daughter thinks it's no big deal, and then their daughter will have children and tell their daughters the same thing. But I've noticed, even though I've seen mothers call their daughters 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, but I noticed the intensity of these statements, of these negative statements, increase upon the time where children, particularly when a young lady, a young girl is at the age of having her menstrual cycle and developing, as far as being a woman, developing more, sexual organs and so forth, reproductive organs. In that development, it increases. And see, what we have to look at, guys, is that the development of these young women in itself presents a visual in the mother's thought process that these children will engage, or these daughters will engage in the acts that they did when they were that age, doing things that they had no business doing. So there's a fear of anxiety of thinking, if I verbally chastise you and demean you, it may hinder or it may decrease your chances of going out having sex at 13 years old, 12, 13 years old, getting pregnant as a teen. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, as a Gen Xer, teen pregnancy was high in the 90s. I grew up as a teenager in the 90s. Teen pregnancy was off the charts in the 90s. So teen pregnancy was actually real high in the early 2000s. And so you got to understand, a lot of these mothers were having children at 14, 15, 16 years old. They were children, they were kids having multiple kids before they were 18. So now that they're, let's say, 30 years old with a 14-year-old, they think that 14-year-old is doing the same things. And so that is one of the reasons these black mothers use that term. Also, with the influence of hip-hop and black language, period, always communicating from the negative with people that look just like each other. When you look at language, when you look at language and the psychology of language and how we verbalize, it's a reflection of what we think and feel of one another. Black people typically don't say a lot of great things about one another. We're typically very negative about one another. And we even use negative words like nigger to even emphasize a positive in terms of endearment to one another. These are facts. So when you hear a mother tell their daughter, bitch, I better not find you fucking any guy in my house. Or whore, you better never have another boyfriend if I ever catch you with a boyfriend. See, this is, instead of sitting your daughter down and teaching her the consequences, the pros and cons, the decision making, the vetting of, I understand where you are as a teenager, what your thoughts, feelings are, and what you would like as far as your attraction. Therefore, these are my rules. This is what I'm going to allow your interaction to be like. Being a real mother, talking to your daughter like a mother's supposed to talk to her daughter, you use the most despicable language. The most despicable language to bring down the spirits of the most precious thing that you have on earth, and that's your children. These are facts. What I'm talking about is facts. This is not me just stating some shit, because when I deal with real therapeutic situations, I've dealt with this. I've dealt with the physical. Verbal abuse is harmful as hell. Sometimes the verbal abuse is even more harmful than physical abuse. And that's facts. The fact that a child cannot believe that their mother just called them a bitch. Child cannot believe that their mother just called them a whore just because they had a note from a young boy. But this is entrenched in black American culture. It's a shame. So guys, tell me what you think. This is D. Durrell with D. Durrell Life Solutions. Again, I'm dealing with, these are real clinical topics. This is stuff I deal with parents, children. This is real shit. This is not me just saying things just to say. I know you won't get this from another black dude. They want to have words flying all across the screen with all kind of technical psychological terms that people have to go read up. But I'm talking about the real in-depth things that we all can relate to. So this is D. Durrell, D. Durrell Life Solutions. Have a great day.